Today we're going to be adding the nameplate. That's the character name over the top of the player. We're also going to be adding a few functions that will change the name in different ways over the mob character or the NPC. We're going to start with the server side DOM. We're going to copy the 3 fields, endurance max, health max, and mana max, over to the client side. Copy those 3. Next, in the eCommon character class where they're added in, we're going to set the replicated so that they are replicated to the client when they are given a value. Then we can close the server DOM. On the client side DOM, field will be here, and we will add them into the client side eCommon character class. Add in the max endurance, health, and mana. We're also going to make a field called B last target. This will be the ID of the last targeted node, and it will be of type ID. We're then going to add it to eTargetCircle class. Add it to that class, and it will save the value of our last targeted HB node out there so that we don't lose it. Next, we're going to make a class called B nameplate. It's going to be type GUI control. It's going to be the name over the character, and it's going to have a parent class of GUI panel. It won't have any fields in it. We're also going to make a class called NPC plate. It's also going to be a GUI control, and it's going to be the name over the NPC. It's also going to have a parent class of GUI panel, and no fields in that one. We're only going to make a script for the nameplate class. The other one is just going to be using the same functions, just referenced from the nameplate. So we'll open the script on that one. We're going to create a few functions. We should be able to close up the DOM here. Okay, our first function is going to be a public function. This is going to find the nameplate. So we're going to call it get tag nameplate. It's going to have an incoming value of node ref of target. It's going to return a node ref to the GUI control, which is a pointer to that GUI that's over the character or the NPC. So we're going to check when it comes in if its target is a player account, the actual character, or it's going to default to an NPC. Here, the tag, which is a GUI control, is going to find the control by name. It's going to go none. For reference, the default will be the layer name. Name tag will be the value it's searching for plus the actual target. The target's the node rep, so it'll be a large number. And that combined with the name tag will give it a unique name. And that we'll be searching for in there. And if it's a character, we're going to have the account as a node ref using the target get my account. The tag will become the default name tag plus the account number. If it's an NPC, it's going to do similar, find the control. This time it's going to be in the nameplates layer. And it's going to look for name tag with the target value. The difference between the two layers is the nameplate is underneath the default layer, so the default will have the character's name will always be on top, so you can read it over the NPCs. We're also going to have some functions that will help do different things, such as show a target HP percent. Here, when you click the target, you're going to show the value on the nameplate of your target. It's going to be a public function, have an input value of target as a node ref. If the target is not there, we're just going to exit out. If it is there, we're going to set it, create a char with a common character, and we're going to set it to our target value. Our percent of it, which you're going to use as an integer to tack onto the name to show it, is going to be based on the character, the health, and the max health, which is why we needed to add it to the client side. Now if we take the health times 100 divided by the max health, we should get a value between 0 and 100. Now these are two float values, so we're going to round them, and this will give us an integer value. Our tag, which will be found up here, getting the nameplate based on the target we send. Now based on the tag value, we will get the nameplate label. The nameplate is the one that's over the NPC or player, and if it doesn't exist, we exit out. If it does, we're going to set the text value to that character's name plus the percent that we found and add in our symbol, percent symbol. Now the next few functions will be similar. This one will clear that target percent. Here we don't need to calculate the percent value. We're just going to get the nameplate tag and set it to this name alone. We're going to reset the color. We're going to change it to red and reset it. So here, if we're targeted, this will be for when the mob gets aggroed. If the target does not equal none, we won't need to get any special values for the common character. So we're going to say if the target is a player character, we're going to reset the value of the name to green color. And if it is not, it's going to probably be an NPC, so we'll set it to a yellow color. Now our next one is going to be a remote function. This is called from the server, and this is going to be the one that changes the color, the tag nameplate. It's going to be called the ability script, and here we're going to say if the target is an NPC, we're going to set the default state color to color red. We'll be making these three functions below. And another one where we're going to set the color back to normal, also called from server side. And this is if the player character dies, we won't have access to the client side at that time. We'll have reset attack nameplate based to the target. And this one we'll check it and reset to the yellow color. Similar to this one up here. Now our three color functions, we color red, green, and yellow. These will return an RGB value, and this is based on our utils function make RGB, and you'll have 4 float values for an input. We get our red, our green, and our blue, and then the alpha value for each one. This will give us our different colors. Middle one's green, so we'll have the green here with a little bit of blue and red. And the yellow will be bright yellow and red. Then we have our plate label. Uses the tag as an incoming node ref. It'll send back the pointer to the GUI label by finding the control tag name. We'll also add one for another part later. That will be done in a later one. Then we can compile and submit this script. Next, we're going to open a class called GUI class methods. What this does is sets up our GUI layer list. Here's the nameplates, default, and the game. So anything that's created on those layers will be all done before the next layer is created. And things will have priority. What we're going to add here is HE new nameplate. So we're going to set up some new nameplates for our characters. This will have a characters node ref, HB node, which is any model type. Our name will be as a string, and it will give back a pointer to a GUI control, which will be the nameplate that it's creating. Here we're going to set up tag as a GUI control, and if the character coming in is a player account, we're going to set a nameplate. So we're going to create this type. If it's a non-player character, we're going to set the NPC plate. Now we're going to have the tag control is going to be built to set to true so that it makes it. The name will be given our name tag plus the character node ref, which will make each one unique. We're going to set the scale to 1.2 so it's a little bigger. We can read it in the distance. You can change the size here and there if you like. See what it does. The name tag will be GUI label, and that will be a control on the tag, and it will have a name. Then we're going to add our text value for the name tag will be set to the name coming in. Our fade distance is going to be 2.35. These are units, which if you multiply by 10 will be approximately 23.5 meters. Our tag glue to node, which is the main tag that's being created, will be the character itself. World space offset, how far it is from that character, will be character system. This is a system node which has a $sign in front, meaning it's still on the client side. Get name tag offset. That will be our offsetting values, and it sets up the character specification on our character coming in. And we return the tag, which is the GUI control pointer. Then we can compile and submit this script. Next, we will look at a client script called eCharacter System class methods. Here, we're going to add in two more functions. We're going to call a set character name. This is going to have the same chars on HB node reference, and the name is a string, and it's going to return Boolean as to whether we did what we needed to or not, letting the base script doing their second part to fill it in. And the first thing here we're going to do is check the base client, which is our system node. We're going to get the area ID and check it versus this value. This value is currently the character creation area up here, where they have the different areas. This will be the creation area. You can always make your own later, but this is where it points to. Next, we'll get our tag, and this will be based on our nameplate class methods, script we made, and the name, get the base name tag plate using the character as a reference. If the tag doesn't equal none, and the glue to node equals char. That means we made it already, and we're going to just add a tag and set the name on it. And we return true that we handled it. If we did not have this glue2 node, the tag was none, then we're going to create it here using name tag as a GUI control, GUI new nameplate. This will call their function which does the basics. And here we'll send in our char and name references. Here we're going to set the offset when it comes back. Get name tag offset based on the model and the name we send in. And then it will call an event that says we set the character name on this character. And we'll return true that we've done it. Now if it doesn't do any of these, we're going to return false, so saying, okay, now base system will set it up. The other one we're going to make, the other method, is going to be on character remove. This will just have a char as a class HB node and return Boolean as to whether we did it or not. Here we'll get the same name tag offset using the character. We'll check it to see if it's done, and the glue2 node is a character. And if it is, we're just going to destroy the tag. If we didn't destroy the tag, it's going to leave that name up in the upper left corner. For any mobs that were killed, you'll see names popping up there if we don't use character remove. They have their own base one set up, but this is going to override that. We're going to then send an event saying we removed it. Anything with the HE underscore in the beginning means we're overriding the base scripts. Same thing here. We're going to override our base get name tag offset. And here, basically, it's going to be X and Z of 0. And our Y is how far above the model's head it's going to be. Here we're going to set it at 0.22, which means approximately 2 feet up. The offset is going to reference, and the model is going to be the string coming in. Those aren't used in here, but the offset is set. The model isn't needed, and we return true saying we did it, so that the override does not fall through to the other one. And this is the send event that they have in there, which will notify the listeners that the event has happened. And we can compile and submit this script. Next script we're going to look at is the target script. It's going to be our eTarget circle class methods. Here we're going to change a few things on the base function method, remote method. We're going to remove the function that's underneath the stop target, and we're going to add it to the stop target function. We're just going to add it here, beat target bar class methods, close window. Then we're going to shorten some of this method in order to make it a little bit more readable. We'll start down here underneath the real target equals does not equal none. We're going to add our listeners. Then we're going to add in me, B last target equals real target. That will save it for after we're done using it. So the next time it comes through, we will have it set, and we'll be able to remove things from the old target. And then we're going to call a get target info. Here we're going to move a few things around. We're going to add listeners, where we set up the status bar with the B target bar start. We're going to move it into add listeners, along with our add association, and our 4 lightweight events, and our 4 calls to set up the initial values. Basically, I change real target to target inside here little easier to read if it's a smaller name. All the targets will be the small name. Our get target info, we're going to pull the bTarget class method to get range distance on our target down into this function. We're also going to create targ as a node ref of common character equals that target, and we're going to set up our nameplate. So when we click on the NPC or target, we're going to get a real target, and it's going to get our info, which is going to show the target HP percent. That's how we call that one. Okay, next down here we'll have clear target name. That'll be target as a common character equals our last target before it changes. If the target does not equal none, we're going to clear the target HP percent. Then we're going to call this function up here in our stop target function. It's going to method me clear target name. Our last one is going to be reset target name, change the color back, and that will be called from the server. Here we get the same common character as the last target. If it doesn't equal none, we're going to call the nameplate, reset the target name color. Then we can compile and submit this script. Next we'll look at the server-side scripts. We'll start with the common character class. And here we're going to add in 2 lines in the applied depth method. Underneath where it says the do messaging to target, we're going to add in after the check player character account as an ID equals me get account. That will set up our next line, call client account target circle, which is the script we just did, and the percent here says call the other side. So if it's a server, it will call the target, the client side for target circle, and if this percent were on the client side, it would call the server. We're going to call reset target name, so that if we right click this, it will go right to that function. Down below, after we check for the level up, and where me is an AI agent, after clearing the driver points, we're going to add in where killer is kind of an E-player character. We're going to call the client based on the killer get my account, the B nameplate class methods reset attack nameplate based on me, which is the mob that died. Now, if we didn't have this killer as an NPC, it would call this anyway. We don't want to call that script if we are a NPC, because an NPC would not have an account name or an account number. Next script we're going to look at will be in the server, will be the AI state retreat class methods. And in here we're going to have, when we enter the AI state, we're going to, when we enter the state, and that's for the retreat, the mob is running back. He's no longer aggroed on this character. Maybe the character outran it, or maybe it died. But what we're going to do is reset the attack nameplate because the mob is running back. So player as a class of E-player character equals the agent EI target. That's the target that is created, what the NPC is chasing. and we can set that value to our player. So we're going to call the client player get my account, and we'll call the nameplate class up here that we created, the script, and we will reset the attack nameplate based on that agent. And that's it for that one, so we can compile and submit that script. Next we have the eAbilities class on the server side. Here we're going to look in function activate ability, and down here underneath initiate cooldown we're going to add in a comment that says for players. That's this section here. Currently it just has the check for a non-player character, and if it's not that, it's most likely a player. Here it calls the client and it does the timeout ability function. We're going to add in where the target is kind of a common character. If a script is aggressive, the attack we used is aggressive towards the NPC that we just attacked, it's true, it causes aggro on the target. We're then going to call this part, call client, me owner, which means the owner of this ability. Me owner is the owner of the ability, and it's going to call nameplate script attack nameplate. This is where we set it up when the mob attacks. We're going to set a target that will cause our target nameplate to turn red. Okay, we can then compile and submit this script. We're then going to close some of these scripts up. We'll start with the server ones, and then we don't need some of these client-side ones. This one we're going to leave open for reference, and we're going to start on the GUI editor and make our two classes. Okay, here we're going to create. We're going to put in B nameplate or the prototype, and for the class, then we'll click OK. What that will do is create our nameplate. We're going to set the sizes of it, 300 by 32. We're going to change ignore mouse events to true. We're going to set the default and the hover colors to transparent. So we change that alpha value to 0. And that should do it for the main part. Next we will add two labels. The first label will be called name. It's going to have a size of 300 by 16, and we're going to set dock mode to top. We're also going to change ignore mouse events if it isn't true already. Text, we're going to add name here, and what this will do is show you where it's currently at. It'll be on the left side. We're going to set display font to jumbo. That will show you how it looks. We're going to set a drop shadow 1, and this is in case the background is the same color, it'll still show up. And our justification will be set to center. That'll move it over to where we need it. We're going to set the color for the default to a green, and this will be for the player nameplate. Now here we're also going to add another label. We're going to call it info. What that does is give us a place where we can like add a guild name or a title or something like that. This one's also going to be size 16 tall. and we're going to dock mode at the top, which means it'll be right underneath the other one. Text will be info, so we can see where it's currently at. The display font will be small text, so it's not the major thing on there. The justification will be center, and drop shadow will be 1. Here we're just going to make it different. We're going to add a yellow for a color instead of green. It can be either way you want. Now the other one that we're going to make is going to be the NPC nameplate. Here we will click create. We'll put in our NPC nameplate and the class will be the same. Then we click OK. It will create our base. And it's going to be very similar to the other one. We're going to click the ignore mouse events to true. Our size will be 30 by 32, 300 by 32. And the layer is going to be set for nameplates, whereas the other one we're going to have for default. Okay, we're also going to add in 2 labels. So it's going to be called name, size 16, dock mode top, text value name, display font jumbo, justification center, and the change that we're making is this one's going to be yellow for an NPC. On our info, very similar to the other one, name info, size 16, dock mode top, text info, display font small, and justification center, and drop shadow 1. Color probably also yellow on this one. Could be info like what faction the mob is with, or if it has like a title or something like a boss mob. And those are 2 GUIs, they're not too hard. Okay, when our character has it on, in order to see it there, we will need to log out and then back in, and that should add your character's name up there. We're going to hit Control G to show our GUIs. The reason mine shows up is because it is on the default layer and not the game layer. The game layer is what most of the GUIs are on. The map is on a default layer also. So here we're going to exit out, log out, log back in, and the character name should show above our character. Next we're going to add in for the NPC, and here we're going to open a script client side, and this is going to be the beat exit window. Here we should have a bunch of scripts for our option value. We're going to comment out the toggle social window, and we're going to open up the bmob class methods toggle make mobs window. And this will add our mob window back in so we can do some testing there. So when we hit escape, we click our options, it'll bring up our mob window. We're going to change that to 1 mob, and we're going to create our mob. Now we'll close that window, hit escape to close that window, and we have our mob up. Now he has a name, and he has his info underneath. His name is yellow. Our name is always on top, because it's on the default layer, his is on the nameplate layer. Even if we're back of him, our name should still be on top of his. Now, when we target the mob, it should show the percentage of hit points that it currently has. And we can see the 100 here. And there's his stats up there. Distance is in meters. There's also a little blue dot on here on the map field. Now, if we were to hit the mob, his nameplate should turn red. Okay, there we go. Red nameplate up there. His current percent, we'll have to set that. Update it. If he were to kill me, his nameplate would change back to yellow. If I were to kill him, it would also change back. And that'll be a little bit different when we do actual specs to get into it. So we'll kill him. His nameplate resets. So the next time this mob spawns, he will be back to normal with no aggro. And all his values were zeroed out. And that's our tutorial for nameplates.